On this episode of Simply Walk the Talk, we have Anna and Christian of QiBlanco. Now, you may have heard me talk about Qi-Bracelet before. Qi-Bracelet is the makers, or they are the makers of the Qi-1-2 Pro that I always have around my neck, and the Qi-Bracelet, which you can see it there. So if you're wondering what that's all about, why I wear this cool, crazy, weird, woo-woo stuff, listen to the show. We're going to talk about EMFs protection. We're going to talk about cellular resilience. We're going to talk about coherent water. And we're even going to talk about how there was a moment of serendipity that brought Christian and Anna together. So I got a chance to meet with them in person in New York City recently. That was a blast. And this conversation precedes that. Actually, no, this conversation is after that. So yeah, stay tuned. Hope you enjoy it. I'm going to continue walking the talk. Peace.
Welcome to Simply Walk the Talk. Our bodies and minds adapt to what we do most of the time. If you want to change your body and mind, you must change what it is you do most of the time. This podcast explores all things health, wellness, fitness, lifestyle, and biohacking. Stay tuned as we explore various thoughts, methods, and experiences from a multitude of conversations between our interesting guests and experts through many fields of work. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Simply walk the talk. Simply walk the talk.
Hey,
Thank
you a lot for the invitation.
Yeah, it's really exciting to have you here, and I don't say that lightly. Christian, you and I have gotten a chance to know each other for quite some time, and then through Christian, Anna, I got a chance to meet you and see all the amazing things that you're doing with dance and energy. I think the two of you are a great team, and I had the great fortune of being able to see you here in New York City when you were here recently.
That was beautiful.
That was fun, right? We went to my favorite place called The Well in Flatiron on 15th and 5th. And we had we broke bread together, even though we didn't have bread, or at least I didn't. But, you know, it was really nice to finally put the two of you tangibly in person, to put our arms around each other and have a beautiful moment of connection and reconnection. You know, I think it was wonderful. So, so now here we are, we're recording. I think this is, Anna, this is one of your first podcasts. I think this is your second, right?
This is my second, but the first one in English. I'm really excited, and yeah. Just let's get started.
Yeah, I think that's really good and important point to bring up before we dive into this, because you guys are a German-based company. You're both German, and your first language, your native tongue, is German. So to even be doing this is quite huge. And I think this is a perfect segue into the fact that I think for those of you that like this show and you watch the show, then you can thank Christian for sort of being the person to kind of bump me into actually recording the video of these podcasts, because you were on the show before, Christian, and that was episode 161 for those of you that are keeping track. And you may notice, I think if I remember correctly, we decided that I was in Budapest at the time when I recorded you. And it was interesting because that was the moment when it was like, well, wait a minute, we're having to do a video call to talk with each other anyway. And you were like, well, why don't you just capture the video? And I was like, yeah, okay, I think we can do that. So started doing it. And so here we are. I'll just show the audience quickly what that episode kind of looked like, because I think it's really fun. So this is from back in the day, everybody. Check this out.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another fascinating show of Simply Walk the Talk. I am your host. I'm your boy, Joshua J. Holland. And today I have on the show with me, Mr. Christian Bauer. Now, Christian is a very fascinating individual.
Okay. All right. So anyway, you get the idea. Obviously, I was brand spanking new. I'm saying I'm your boy. Obviously, I'm the host, right? Because I'm there. However, things have changed for the better, I think, for not only my brand and this podcast, but also with what you guys are doing, which is why I wanted to have you back on the show to talk about some of the new developments of QiBlanco, where you're headed. And for those of you that want to know more about the Christian and I's first podcast together, go back and check that out. And I'll put that on the playlist because I don't have that on my video playlist right now, but it'll be there. And then for today, let's talk about what's new with QiBlanco and what you guys are doing and how it all got started.
Yeah, right now we're really enjoying LA, and we came back to TDS to bring some fire into QiBlanco and the US user base. That's why yesterday we were invited by Scott Frank. He's like here from LA, and I didn't know that, but he's also a New Yorker. So it was for me really funny, like coming from New York to LA and then sitting with Scott on the table. And he's also really fascinating about the QiBlanco product. So we had a long talk yesterday and good food. We also shared bread, as you beautiful said. That's why we are now live in LA. And yeah, what's new at QiBlanco? We are now have already the G1 Pro. Like back then, I think we were talking about the G1, and then we have brought the second edition, and we brought the Qi-Bracelet to life, and the Qi Home Air. That's also the more powerful and the more lighter edition than the first one.
Yeah,
I love this. But before we start diving into the new developments with the bracelet and the Qi Home Air, I would love to talk about, just touch on what is QiBlanco, and let's talk about just a recap on what the Qi-1 Pro is about. And then I think it would be nice to kind of dive into some of your backgrounds, both of you, because then I think it makes more sense for people to understand like why it is that you've developed your entire lives. You've devoted your entire lives into this company. And I knew that before, but when I saw you in person, I really got a chance to feel that and understand that. So I think it would be important to talk about your background as well. Actually, let's start with your backgrounds, and then we'll talk about the various products and what they do and how you've developed them, and then go on from there. How about that?
Yeah, perfect. So I think you want to start?
you start.
Okay. Yeah, like my background is really simple. Like everything started like maybe when I was like 25, something like this. Like I was like really lost in life, didn't know where to go, and had a lot of issues I didn't like anymore. And for example, I treated my body not really good, so I lost all my hair back then. And then a big life changing began in my life. I stopped the hair loss. So this looks like almost 15 years right now. It's stable. And yeah, I was employed back then in the automotive industry as an R&D development manager. I had a team back then. And there were two things happened. I was working at the forging industry, like a heavy industry, like forming metal with a lot of heat and a lot of power. And we always needed to have some lubricant to protect the tools from the heat. Back then, normally they always used like really stuff that's not healthy from the employees, as often money and decides what's going to happen in the companies. And I didn't like this idea, so we did a lot of research about water. And there I came in contact with Coherent water, like from the intro, what's the main idea about QiBlanco. And secondly, at the same time, they installed a big Wi-Fi router next to my head, and my energy level dropped a lot. So I was not able as being productive as used to be. So I was wondering how this EMF device is interacting with my body, especially with my brain, because it was really on the head level. And this both lead together to the idea like, yeah, we're made out of mainly water. If you count them, like everybody says 70 to 80%, like if you would call the molecules, you literally could say we are just water and a little bit of minerals. And this water with the EMF, I wanted to know how to combine this and how to protect the body about EMFs. This was the first step. And then with developing more and more, I understood that implementing more coherent water into the body also improves the personality in connecting. Like now it's really spiritual, even though I'm a mechanical engineer, to connecting the soul to the quantum field, to if you believe in God, to connect it to the where your soul is stored, yeah, or if you believe into rebirth, like where's this main personality coming from besides the body? Yeah? If you say this is my body and there's my personality, and I mainly believe it's transported via water that jumps into the quantum field into your body. So that's what we noticed, and that's also what leads to your introduction, that we say, yeah, back then 2 years ago, you were in a little hotel room in your kitchen. I was back then, it was in my parents' house, and now like everything has grown up. Our personalities developed. You have way more viewers. Your podcast is huge. It's beautiful how you do it, and all this I think is strongly supported by QiBlanco and a strong base of Korean water into the body.
Well said, beautifully put. And I'm thankful that you provided that, because that helped to remind me, because I know sometimes when we do various podcasts or we have conversations with people, sometimes we miss certain moments. But I think that is very powerful for someone coming to this show for the first time to kind of understand that you know, your training is as a mechanical engineer, and you are now using that technology together with sort of this ancestral wisdom or this spiritual wisdom to come up with a product that is beautifully made, and you have a lot of science behind it as well. So I think that's great. And then Anna, let's hear about your background and how you kind of got involved with all this as well.
My background is before QiBlanco, it was not really special. I don't have the vocabulary for that, but I was working like always and forever with water. I was working for the state Bavaria, for the official state, and we were controlling the water, like for bacteria, viruses, and chemicals. Yeah. And beside of them, I was a passionate dancer, and I was teaching pole class dances back then.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was, I was so in love with pole dance and aerial arts and aerial hoop. Yeah, that was my home, I would say.
Yeah, you know, what's sorry to cut you off, but I think what's interesting about what you mentioned is well, the first thing that I just caught on, because I didn't know that about you, so thank you for sharing that. But you both sort of had this connection with water, and the water being the two that brings you together. And it's, as you mentioned, Christian, water, we are made up of mostly water. And so how special and beautiful is it that it brought you two together, right? And then
to be honest, it was not the topic of our first date. So we're both more like physically attracted. And back then, when we had our first date, QiBlanco was set up, but the idea about the Qi1 was not born.
Yeah.
I was like focusing on a certain type of magnesium that was be able to produce industrially since like 2 years ago, and it was I was a brand to was called White Gold. And
gold.
Yeah, we were selling magnesium citrate in a certain recipe, and it worked really well until
I loved it.
It's still an amazing product, but then a UK company with a lot of money like really cut it off us off. They literally copied it and made the price half it. And this was back then a hard story for me, but it made room to go another way. Anna was the strong support who really saying let's do this idea with the Qi1. Was back then it was a pure crazy idea. I got no invitation to a podcast, you know. It was like I was sharing the ideas, and everyone was like, "Okay, this guy is crazy. He doesn't know what he was talking about." And even when I shared all these researches, you said now we have this public scientific studies, who have peer-reviewed and was made by a professor, and like all this is now there. But there was a time that nothing of that existed. It was just the idea in my mind. And Anna always supported me in, hey, you know what? I feel this product.
I feel that this is the truth. You know, we have to go for it. We have to go for it. So we really cut everything off, like our jobs, our apartments, and we went to Berlin. And in Berlin, QiBlanco made the first baby steps to the public, I would say. And Christian, he got his first invitations to podcasts, and from then
You organized it. I didn't.
I organized. Yeah, I was till now. I was always behind the scenes, you know. And even I don't have a name in QiBlanco. I'm just the heart. You know, he's the head. I'm the heart.
Whenever he went to say, she was always like, Christian, what is my title in QiBlanco? What is like, what
This
should
is
I,
the ego.
what should I do below my email? What should I write there? And I said, hey, babe, you can be anything you want.
Wow.
And then, what was your first title? You remember?
I have no
It
idea.
was something crazy, like Amy, spiritual assistance, medium, like something like this. Like, cause I always say like, I don't know what should we do. What do you feel? And she's like, I feel so good this way. And then I meditated, but back then I meditated like 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I feel this too. So a lot of our decisions, like really big decisions, with also a lot of money involved and responsibility, were made even back then in a state of meditation and alignment, and be guided by the universe.
Yeah, and this was also the start for my big spiritual journey, because Christian was feeling that I was very, very spiritual,
Like a psychic,
you know. But
Psychic.
I was like, no, I don't want to be anything in this way, you know. Just no. Yeah, I have to admit.
explain it, like here in the US, you can find a sign where there's like psychic on, and you can get a reading, and this is accepted. In Germany, they just don't exist. You don't find
It's a good point.
You don't find any sign where it says, a medium reader or something like this. I think they would, in the moment you set up the sign, they would shut down you. Just shut.
Yeah.
So and so there was even more harder boundary which you overcame.
But with some time, I have to admit that I have a really strong sense for future, and especially when it comes to QiBlanco. I see a lot of, I feel the future of QiBlanco, and this is why I think it was like intuition that I said to Christian when he shared the idea of the Qi-1 Pro, or back down the Qi-1. I was like, of course, this is the truth. We have to go for it. You have to do it. Yes. And
that's very special, and not to be taken lightly either, you know. And I overheard what you were saying about that question before, which is, what is your title? And you mentioned that that's from the ego, and you know, that's important to either understand or to simply be aware of, right? Because as Christian pointed out, you're the heart of the company, you know, and that says everything, because we know how important the heart is to the body or to any entity. So the feeling sometimes is more than the tangible, right? Like the it's more than just the numbers and the return on investments. Yeah. And I really tried it in the first years of QiBlanco. I really tried to explain the technology exactly like Christian does, you know. But when I say this physical words, it's like, that's not authentic. That's not me. So I was like,
and I always
back to myself, my nature, and this is my heart and feelings. Yeah, I can communicate with people, and they feel me. I feel them. So
that's what I always say. Like this, nobody has to repeat all the science.
Exactly.
Like a lot of customers, they say like, and how does it work? What should I tell if somebody asks me? And then I start like, okay, what answer do you want? Do you want to hear the scientific answer? And then this phrase comes and nobody understands it, nobody can repeat it. Or like, you want to know how it affects your body or your personality, or like our lives as we are sharing right now. And I think this is I love the phrase I heard once was like, I mean, it's a spiritual thing, but like if you talk to God, that's really personal. It's a really personal thing. It does not need to be shared with anyone. Like if you have a certain thing and you need help or support and you think God is supporting you, you don't even have to share this with your partner, because there's so many, everybody has so many dark secrets and things they're not proud about what happened in their past lives, and it doesn't matter if it's a Joshua or if it's a Elon Musk or somebody else. Everyone has this, and so I think a good privacy for certain decisions in life is really important to let it unfold. And that's why also, like, if people say, I want to hide it and keep it as a secret for me, go for it. I mean, I'm presenting right now because it's my company. I want to make some presentation about it. But like everyone else can really take it as a personal decision to get the support of the QiBlanco products. And I think it's really important to talk about that.
Listen, all this stuff is really, really good because we're touching on things that are really near and dear to me, because I actually had a conversation yesterday with someone who wants to eventually write articles together, and she has a very interesting outlook on life and connecting to the spiritual and the more esoteric, embracing it. And I think it's interesting. However, my suggestion to her was, instead of going one way and completely disregarding any other way, so that you don't come out with this magazine or this article such that people think that you're just a quack and they just automatically turn away from it. How about we use it as a part of our toolkit? We can leverage modern technology together with ancestral wisdom, spiritual wisdom, to be able to help people wherever they are. Because some people may need to see immediate results. Some people may need to hear research and data. Other people want to just feel, right? And so if we lose out on the people who need the data and need the research and want the technology, then we're not really truly getting the whole piece of the pie or the whole piece of the picture. We're only getting a small piece. So I always say, let's leverage all of it. And then we meet people wherever they are. Like you just said, Christian, what answer do you want? Do you want the science, or do you want, do you want the spiritual, or do you just want to know what's in it for you? Because I was trying to look up quickly while you guys were talking. I was trying to look up, because I've heard some quotes around the idea of using the need for research to debunk something. Right. Or to make a decision, make it easier for you to decide against something. And to me, I've always thought that was a little weird, because there's many things we do on a daily basis. I would say there's probably 100 decisions we make or more a day without research that we have complete faith in. And it didn't dawn on me until one day we were on a high rise in this new apartment. I think it was in Philadelphia. And it was beautiful. It was all made of glass, and it was just amazing. Whoever was with me, I forget who it was, but we went out onto the balcony, which is glass, okay, because you can see down. And it was in that moment that we just kind of looked at each other and thought, we have so much faith that this is going to hold up right now.
Wow.
And we step out on it every time without question. And yet we didn't go and talk to the architecture to say, okay, at what angle is this, and at this time of day, and what's the temperature? No. But yet with other things that may potentially add something to your life, we're like, no, we need to see the research. We need to see the data on that. It doesn't make sense.
I think everything is good. Everything is good. And I think I love your example. It's the same. Like, somebody asked me, like, how does the G1 work? And then asking. And I bet, like, do you know how the touch screen of your phone works?
Bingo.
And I think the touch screen is maybe way more complicated to explain.
Yeah.
But nobody cares, because they
just see that it works.
If you feel it, it's easy. And that's the beauty about QiBlanco. Some people, they feel it. Like I remember when your first testimonial you sent us, that was beautiful. But there are others, they don't feel it. And there's also important to mention that it doesn't matter at the end. Of course, like feeling or not feeling is also combined with your personal sensitivity and your like how is your body developed and in what stage and what is your strength. Like some people could see farther than others, but that doesn't make them better or worse. And
Well said.
and the same is with the G1. If you feel it or not, it does nothing change about the product. It's important that it's supporting you, and it's always supporting you on a really private and individual level. Of course, like the Coherent water, if you increase the amount in your body, you have like the water molecule change like from these 104.5 degrees over 109.5 degrees, you call them coherent, and the atoms come closer and you have a higher electronic voltage. So literally you have more energy loaded on the water, and this energy could be used in different ways. And your body is way more intelligent than any device here on the earth, and will decide what needs your body most. And
Right.
maybe it will start a detoxification. Maybe it will increase the AP production. But it's so personal. And it's good that it's personal, and it's good that your body knows exactly what's needed most. And this is, that's the beauty in itself.
Well said. Well said. So now that we've kind of touched on your backgrounds and also this feeling around this amazing company that you've built, I do think it would be important to talk a little bit about the science, to at least explain what the overarching idea is, because you've mentioned coherent water several times. For some people listening, they are completely clueless about it, and that's totally fine. So let's talk about that, what that even means. And then, like, I did do a screen share to show some of the studies and results, or the research that is on the website. So I would direct people to go there. It's just go to QiBlanco, spelled QI Blanco, BLANCO.com, and then you can, if you read in German, great, it'll most likely pop up German, but then you can change it if you need to. But go and read the studies if you need that. But I would love for either of you or both of you to talk about what is coherent water, how does that affect the body and the cells, and then how can your products kind of enhance that?
Like when you mentioned the studies, I'm really proud to say that these are like scientific public studies. So they have been published in scientific magazines. So it's not a report that has been done privately by ourselves and then said, okay, wow, we have so many papers, and look there. Also, it was done by a German professor in Germany, and the research independently from us, and then he published it in scientific magazines in other countries, like in the US and Japanese. And then they got a pre-review, so they have been looked through the experts in this magazine, and therefore we have right now 4 of them, and this makes us the star on this kind of EMF protection, personal development, because no other company has so many scientific published articles than us. And being said that, the idea of coherent water is really simple. It's mainly be driven by Professor Dr. Pollack. He's from the US, and from Professor Dr. Blanco.
Dr. Gerald Pollack, yes?
Yeah, and Blanco, he's a German scientist. And they both did great research. Like Pollack showed under the microscope the possibilities of the water, like how does it behave. So he really pointed out with a lot of videos and research how this molecule behaves, that the water has a lot of more things into it than we think. And Blanco was specialized on the quantum field effects. He said, like, wow, the research from Pollack is so beautiful, but he is specialized. He's a professor in quantum physics, and he made a whole book about that. Like, he added on the knowledge what makes the water molecule from the quantum mechanics so beautiful and so great. And the main thing, as I said, it's like a normal water molecule is like, at this angle, you really can make it on the chemical structures H2O So 2H, 1O. And the angle between this is 104.5 degrees normally. And then you can call it an incoherent water molecule. And that's what everybody knows. And then if it gets more loaded, it changes into an angle of 109.5 degrees or more. And then you call it a coherent water, or like Pollard called it like a easy water.
Easy water, yeah, or fourth phase of water.
Exactly. And this is like one state of the coherent, and there's also like it's called a coherent domain. It's like a free phase where the molecules combine like the Air Force, like the molecules fly next to each other. It's really beautiful if you dive into it. And that's the scientific. So this is the amount we want to increase. And with the Qi1, with the grid chip inside, these made up that that the amount of coherent water next to it increases. That's the main idea about it. So we improve the amount of coherent water, and then we come to the beautiful things that can happen with it. And both pointed out that fluid water is really important for the blood circulation into the body. Colleagues showed it under the microscope. He made like artificial veins and showed like with a improvement of the coherent water, the blood flows faster and more deep into the body. And Pollack went further and said like, and you know what, water it has an effect that's called the tunnel effect. You can call it, Google it on Wikipedia. It's a quantum physics. The tunnel effect means like the water molecule can jump through a barrier that normally energy would not be enough to. So it means it can climb higher hills, and it has energy. And how does it? It jumps. So the interesting thing is that like it's a split line experiment. It shows like the photons and the electrons, that they can be at the same position, at two positions at the same time. So an electron is able to teleport itself. And alone, when you say this, no, everyone's like, "What? Wow!" And now we are in the Enterprise, in the Star Trek mode, in the Star Wars field, like where all these great things happen. And I think where they all got inspired by is about these quantum mechanics, where a lot of more research is needed. But with jumping, or with knowing that the water molecule jumps into the quantum field, there the hypothesis comes that what is it doing in the quantum field? And like a lot of water scientific people say, water has a lot of states, so it can store a lot of information. And a lot of this technology about like harmonization or whatever, they are always like try to put some informations into the water. And that's the most of the things interesting part, I think, is what happens when the water jumps into the quantum field. Like
No, really quick.
Where does it jump?
Hold that thought, because everything you have been saying is great. I just want to make sure that the people that are watching and listening will also be able to catch up and understand, because when you mention there's many states of water, most people think about ice. So when water is frozen, it becomes a solid. Water in its most natural state is a liquid. And then water that is steamed, or I guess the evaporation process, that would be the gas of water. So there would be solid, liquid, gas. But then you said there's many states. And this is where I love Pollack's research, which is that fourth phase or fourth state of water, which kind of hovers somewhere in between all three. And it's the way that I see it is it feels more like a gel. It's almost like a gel, right? Like I'm not saying that the water is in a gel state, but it's closer to a gel state than it is solid, liquid, or gas. And I think that's very interesting. And that's why it's more hydrating, because it can, like you said, it can carry more nutrients and carry more information. And that's what's really cool. So for instance, things that happen in nature like that are like chia seeds. Chia seeds have easy water around them once they're in a gelatinous state, which is really cool, right? And so, and I also know that the same thing that happens with grounding, or a very similar thing that happens with grounding, the blood becomes less viscous, which means that it's instead of flowing like ketchup, it flows more like red wine, right? We know what red wine is supposed to flow like. And so I'm trying to paint these pictures for people so that they can understand, at least from a layperson's term or a layperson's level. And then I think it's easier to kind of talk about next the quantum field, which is a little bit more esoteric, right? A lot more, actually. You know, maybe you can touch on this too, Anna, but I think it is important to understand that, and I did pull this screen up with loads of research that you can dive into if you want or need to. And for those who don't, just continue listening, because we can tell you some of the things that are happening in many different realms. Yeah?
You think that perfectly summary, yes.
Yeah. So, Anna, like, what would you say your experience would be with this? Because, you know, Christian just broke down some of that deep science, but I would love for you to be able to maybe talk to the other set of people out there who don't really care about the hardcore science and data, but maybe, you know, you can speak to some people who really just want to feel more. Well, can you talk about that?
Yeah, I can tell you about my experience. When Christian brought the first version of the Qi home into my apartment, and he installed it, and I also he gave me also the first version of the Qi one, and I think I am the perfect example for I don't feel anything. I was like, okay, nice. I don't feel nothing. But to be honest, back then I was still employee, and in the first 3 till 4 weeks, the Qigong was triggering me so hard, like emotionally, mentally. It was really hard for me to hold the state, being, I don't know, smiling the whole day. But this is what I actually do. Or love to do, smiling the whole day. And yeah, but there were 3 days in this 4 weeks where I came home from work and I had like an emotional breakdown now, I would say. I was so full of, I don't know, emotions that were came up, and I was like feeling into me, and in this moment I felt like I need to get it off. So yeah, my system was full. I need a break. So I put it off. I slept without the Qi1. Normally I sleep with the Qi-Bracelet, with the Qi1. And, but in the morning after that, I feel like I missed something. There is something that my body is missing. So it was the Qi1. And this is we have a lot of clients that they don't feel in the moment when they put the Qi1 on, they don't feel anything, but they feel the difference when they put them off. So yeah, this is my story. I was like, I didn't feel this energy kick in the moment when I put it off. I am like, yeah, I miss the Qi1. I feel the Qi1 when it's not on me. And for me, it was more a mental state, emotions that the Qi1 was triggering me hard, like trauma. I would say it was a trauma release.
Yeah, I think that, to me, what that reminds me of, and I think it's important for people to hear this. So thank you for sharing that, because that's going to be so important for anyone else out there wondering, is this working or is it not? When you feel, most of the time, and I'm just saying this from my experience as well, most of the time when a person is employing some of these technologies or these methods that we were talking about, especially the QiBlanco series, when the body is in such a state that it needs to detox, when you get a response from that detox, we usually call that a Herxheimer response. And that Herxheimer response can be basically, what the gist of that is that you're detoxing so much, therefore your detox pathways don't have an opportunity to clear out all the byproducts that are being built up from that detox. So it's like throwing a bunch of trash away into a receptacle that eventually falls over because there's too much trash, but you keep throwing the trash away, right? And that's kind of what happens, right? So when you have that response, that's what I imagined, first of all. And then second of all, when you said you felt that you were missing something, I find that to be interesting, because in the world of love, I think any of us can appreciate this. There's that expression of you don't appreciate what you have until it's gone.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
what I think of right there, you know?
Yeah.
And so whether there's data in that or not, right? Like that was your anecdotal data, that was from your experience, but it doesn't mean just because there's not a doctor that signed off on it and that is published somewhere, doesn't mean it's not valid for you. And that's what I want everyone listening and watching to understand, is that with some of these methodologies, yeah, I go crazy and I spend money on all these different things and I try out a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to do this to find out the things that might give you some benefit, right? It might give me some benefit, because why not? Yeah. Anyway, thank you for sharing that. All right. Obviously, I can get long-winded as well. So I want to make sure that people notate, whether you're listening or watching, especially if you're listening, definitely check out the video of this, because I've put up some of the research and some of the papers with the dark field microscopy blood samples. That's pretty cool. And I also put up some images of the range. So far, you guys have alluded to the Qi-1, which is the first version of the Qi-1 Pro, which is the one that I have on. I think both of you have on as well. And then this is the Qi-Bracelet, which I have it paired with this amazing wrist piece that my buddy Oscar got me for my birthday, which was really sweet. And in fact, I saw you guys the day after my birthday, right? Yeah. So this is the Qi-Bracelet, which is really amazing. And then we have the Qi Home Air. Okay, so let's dive into what does it mean, because I also noticed, Anna, you mentioned you turned it off. None of these devices on me turn on or off. So can you explain that?
I didn't really turn it off. It was more that my apartment was like full-time coherent. So, and the combination of the Qi Home and the Qi-1 was super overwhelming for my body system. So I felt like I need to get it off, the Qi-1, or at least the Qi-1, so that my body can, regulate himself. But I was still in the Qi Home atmosphere, and I never felt that Qi Home atmosphere negatively.
Interesting.
For me, it is always, and it always has been, like a paradise. When I come home, it's a paradise. It's
beautiful.
It's a you said oasis.
Oh, oasis, yeah.
Oasis, where you just can rest and in stillness and peace and in harmony, and
Beautiful. Christian, quick question, because, well, before I ask you this question, one of the things I thought you were talking about when you were saying before, so you answered the question perfectly, Anna, because you mentioned that you wanted to take off the Qi-1 because that was on your body, whereas you felt okay. I think the doubling up or the tripling up may have been too much of a detox for you, right?
Yeah.
And so, but you stayed in that home atmosphere, which is amazing, which is what I do here in my apartment. But because this is small enough, I can also travel with this. So I love to travel with mine. But I want to touch on sort of this EMF part of it, because that's the part that gets people crazy. You've got EMF believers and you've got EMF skeptics, right? It's like, do you believe in aliens or do you not? Right? Do you believe in God or do you not? And for me, I like to speak about this world of EMF protection, not as EMF blocking, because there is a difference between blocking EMFs in sort of like a Faraday atmosphere. That's what I thought you did when you said you need to take this off. I thought maybe you put it like, a cover over it so there's nothing emitting from it. But I understand now. But the difference is that we could try to block out all EMFs and live in a Faraday cage. and we wouldn't get any beneficial EMFs, right? Because there's non-native and there's native EMFs. The non-natives are the ones that are man-made, our appliances, all our cell phones, all that kind of stuff, right? The native EMFs are the ones that come from the earth, right? That come from the sun, that come from nature. And so we wouldn't necessarily want to block all of that because we need some of it, right? And what I love about what your products seem to do anyway is to make me more resilient, make my cells more resilient to the EMFs that are inevitable in our world, right? They're inevitable in our world. If we lived in this perfect home environment that is sort of blocked or reduced EMF exposure, and then we go outside and into modern day, we're going to feel that contrast. It's going to be huge. So if we went from like having a Faraday cage and no EMFs to then all of a sudden going outside and experiencing it, we would notice a huge difference. But when you can mitigate EMF, you can make your cells more resilient to EMF. Then when you go outside, sure, you may feel less powerful or less optimized, but the goal is to be able to withstand whatever is outside if you live in an environment as such, right? So
yeah, it's an interesting perspective, of course. For me, it's really clear, like everything emits electromagnetic waves, EMFs, not electromagnetic waves. So everything is made out of electromagnetic waves. So this is what the universe is made out of. And they're even like, if you go to some like quantum physics, they even say that also the body is not solid. It's just like really fast waves that feel solid. And if you look at this perspective, hiding and blocking everything out for sure can be a good release for some people. Yeah, like a good friend of mine, he was like in a 5-day dark room retreat. And for sure, if you make a EMF protection, like a really 5-day cage around it, it will help you to ground perfectly. But as you said, the world is not going to work like this. The big question is like, how can you make the humanity interacting with the technology that we all have? I often say, yeah, it would be easy to shut down your phone at night, shut down your VLAN at night, and for a lot of people, this is way out of their well-being. Like, well, no, that will not happen, man. I'm not really shutting down anything of this, and this is fully correct and understandable because everybody wants to be connected. They want to watch Netflix whenever they can, so they need the connection to everything. So what we created as a human species together has a lot of EMFs that are technically produced and are fast and are going into the body and having an impact on it. To all the non-believers in EMFs, it's really simple. I always like to go to the research department of Germany, like who are responsible for every radiation, and they simply pose it like this: the setting up of 5G towers in Germany leads to a 0.5 degrees increasing of the temperature on the surface of the skin. So no matter if you believe or not, it's just pure physics that the EMF go into your body and change your system. And we can discuss if somebody feels it. And we can discuss about it. But it goes into the body. That's why your phone has a signal, because the waves go through your body. Otherwise, you would block with your body always your signal. Or like, imagine your head would block out the signal. You always had to turn to the right location to get a signal. But no, it goes straight through your head.
yeah,
So there's nothing to discuss about it. It goes straight through your head. And it's energy. Or if energy, like in a microwave, go through your head, it's increasing the temperature in your head. We can discuss how much and if somebody think if there's an effect about it, but it will increase the temperature of your head no matter what. And that's a lot of people who say, like, if I'm a long time on my phone, I feel like a hot ear or whatever. It's pure physics. You're using a microwave effect.
Of course. Of course.
So there's nothing to discuss about if this is true or not. It's true, but we can discuss about if some people think it's not affecting their body.
Yeah, I like to compare. So if you haven't noticed the amount of time that you guys have spent with me, you may notice that I like to use analogies a lot because that's kind of how my brain works. Especially being a host of a podcast for a long time, I like to make things a little bit more simplified. So when it comes to this whole idea, especially around the non-believers, a lot of times when a person is skeptical of something, it's because they don't have enough data or they don't have any data. And I usually like to ask those people, I try to give my best explanation of what I understand about a certain topic, but then I'll ask them, what research do you know of around the idea of love? Because love, we all feel it, or I guess we either feel it or we feel the lack of it, right? That's deep. So, so there is a feeling of love, yet we don't have any real science around it, right? And love can affect your body, no?
Yes.
So it's like if you don't believe in EMFs, then what because there's not enough research, then what's the difference between not having enough research and love? You feel when someone, you may not remember their name, you may not remember where they're from, where you met them, how you met them, but you will always remember how they made you feel. That's a feeling. That is energy, right?
Wow, that's it.
That's now we bring it together. What you feel there is also EMF, because when you love somebody, your heart will have different signals, and also your brain. And this goes through the other person. And that's why some people say, I can read his mind. Yes, sometimes you know what he's going to say, because you can, the energy is faster than speaking. So while you're thinking about the topic, you can get the signals and feel them.
Yeah. This is why I think it's interesting that they say females are a lot more intuitive than males. And I don't remember exactly, so I can't even really quote this, but there is a certain, I think there's more mitochondria in maybe in the female body than it is on average in the male body. But whatever the science behind that part is, this is why a lot of females can say, we know when someone is lying. We know when someone is telling the truth, right? Right. And it's a feeling because you are more in tune, I think. Maybe there's some science out there, but you're more in tune with that electromagnetic energy that is being emitted for a lie or a truth. Right? And again, how and why do we have a lie detector test when you're trying to prove someone committed a crime? Like, what are they measuring? Right. They're measuring a number of things that happen within the body, but a lot of those are waves. They're measuring wave emissions. They're also measuring, the perspiration, but the perspiration is not what makes a person known if they lie or they're telling the truth. It's that effect of so much wave being emitted that increases the temperature in the body. And it's just, well, and also maybe the machines that are hooked up to them have non-native EMFs connected to them as well. But anyway, like, I didn't even know I was going to get this deep in the woods on it, but I guess maybe subconsciously, I feel your challenges as a company that is based around something that is so esoteric, that is tough for most people to understand. And so I guess this is my way of trying to help support what you're doing, because I've always enjoyed, regardless of if I felt anything or not, which I did, and I still do, right? But regardless of that, every time I spoke with you, Christian, and then eventually when I met you, Anna, like, I felt a certain way. I felt good. I felt that this was the right thing to do, no matter what. Right? Yeah. We had our challenges, throughout the time, not together, but like, I had my own challenges in life and career, and you guys had your own challenges in life and career. Maybe that's a good segue into talking about where you went from, because like we alluded to in the beginning, we both were at a certain level, and here we are now, and we're still rising because we're working on ourselves. But can you maybe talk about that for those who can also relate to struggling with a small startup and then having to jump through hoops and, tell me some of those.
Like the worst time we had, I think, was last year in November. We got hacked in the summer times. Like one of my email account got hacked, and that had a big impact on our Meta account. And they just like took over our Meta accounts on Instagram and Facebook. And so we were not able to advertise and promote ourselves as we wanted to. And this led to reduce that awareness, but still all the production line was running. So it created an atmosphere about where it was really, everything was really tightened up. And two things what I learned, or what we learned, is, first of all, the universe doesn't care if you suffer. It just doesn't care. And with this related, it will give you just the challenges that you can make.
Mhm.
And that's the second one. Never give up. Like if there's a challenge and you never give up, you will master it.
Always.
You will always master it. It doesn't matter how many loops you have to make. And this is also the beauty of what I see with people using QiBlanco technology. People who are using it and then saying, okay, let's dive into it, and using the potential, they become really successful. And that's the, like, one review I read was like, it feels like a back wind that's coming from behind and supporting you in going further. And this is the beauty what I feel about it. And that's what I want to give everyone who has a startup. Having a startup is really tough. And it's maybe the hardest thing besides having kids that really can trigger you on the deepest level. But that's the beauty in it. You will grow tremendously as a person, as an individual. And anything what will happen in this time, it will be so beautiful for the future and for your personal development if you never give up. If you break down on the challenge and say, oh, I don't know, I'm not made for this, la la la, then for sure it can be a horror trip itself. But if you catch your fate and say, no, I'm gonna do that. And that's why I also like the American way of seeing things. You're way more into this never give up. Yeah, that's what for us stands out for America. This never give up. Yeah, or like when the US when you talk about your soldiers and the idea how this is all running and your love for this country. That's always no. We never give up, and that's, I think, it's the most beautiful phrase and energy that you should always have if you have your own company or your relationship or your family. You can use this for everything.
Yeah, I would love to add to that and say, because there does become a point in which the never give up idea becomes not so optimized, right? Because I think the idea is never give up on growing, right? I think that's maybe more, right? Because there's going to be certain things that we do need to get rid of. There are going to be certain things that we do need to stop, right?
Sure.
And
never
so
give up about your dream and what you think is the right thing to do. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, like it's not that anything is said wrong or right. I just love having these levels of conversations with my friends, because it's like a lot of people will see me with my presence on social media and they think, wow, you know so many people and you do, always traveling the world and doing this and doing that. But my true friendship group is very small, and it's those that seem to be elevating their spirit, right? Those that happen to have a growth mindset and work on personal development. So having these levels of conversation is quite normal amongst those in my group. And my goal is not to always keep it for me. My goal is to find more to build a community. And whether that's through amazing companies like Vivo Barefoot, who are also doing the same thing, which is why I do a lot of work with them. Whether it be companies like yours at QiBlanco, whether it be, doing retreats, I'm trying to do it all to kind of raise and elevate the consciousness of all of those, especially those within my knit community. And, I welcome these conversations. I love it. And so this is why we're doing it, right? I mean, we could be doing so many things on a Sunday in the middle of June, the end of June. Very soon I'm going to be going to see my kids in Budapest. So this is kind of like a full circle moment for when we first did our podcast together. And what I think is interesting is that I guess that means however many years ago that was, I've been wearing this thing since then. There's only one period of time that I didn't have this on. And I'm holding up, for those who are not watching, I am holding up the Qi 2 Pro that I always have around my neck. You can find a bunch of videos that I did in support of the company and the brand online. You can see it on their page. You can also see it on my social media. But I've had it on this whole time, except there was once I foolishly broke it. I broke the chain. And I remember exactly how I did it. And it made me so frustrated, but then I learned a lesson from it, right? So I was brushing my teeth and washing my face. And that's what I do every morning, right? I hope I do that every morning, but I definitely put water on my face every morning. And it's kind of for me, it wakes me up. I love it. I put a splash of cold water in my face and I rub. It's almost, yeah. Well, the cold shower comes later, but I do my face and then I brush my teeth. But as I was stroking up, wiping my face, I think one of my bracelets caught the necklace and popped it. And I was like, oh my gosh, but you guys are very helpful. I mean, I was able to order a new chain and, now I'm very careful about it. So that's why sometimes I tuck it so that it's not dangling when I'm doing things like that, because I don't want to break it again. I can appreciate having now the full series. I'm going to go back to the website and show this really quick. And then maybe you can talk on these other products that I'll pull up. So for now, we just spoke about the Qi 2 Pro, and it has listed here e-smog and 5G protection, cell regeneration, resilience for everyday living. I love the resilience part, right? And then I also am a huge fan of the bracelet. I get a lot of questions about it. And anytime I get a question, I feel like it's an opportunity to educate. And so same thing here, the e-smog and 5G protection, cell regeneration, more power and focus. The two of these together, I think, is very powerful. And then as of recently, I now have the Qi Home Air, which it says the most powerful protection for your home, shield your moments. And so when I thought these two were powerful, I now understand this is like the Transformers or the trifecta of the QiBlanco lineup. And so having all three of these is really, really cool. Can you please share some of your thoughts and some of the feedback you're getting about the bracelet and the Qi Home Air?
The thing was like the Qi-Bracelet was mainly wished by female customers. They wanted to have something when they have like a red dress. Like they said, yeah, we love our Qi but please, we need something else if we don't want to wear anything about our neck. And I thought like, a Qi-Bracelet, I also love bracelets. So this is the idea, but for sure it's different. Like this is close to the heart, so the heart is a water pump. So it brings along the water and the cooling water into the body, and the Qi-Bracelet is weighed on one side and far away out. So typically these two products feel different, especially for sensitive persons at the beginning. Even like for me, of course, we had when I had the first prototype of it, it was for me fascinating because it's like you're moving your arms through the aura. So it's also like a kind of aura cleaning, if you want to call it, into simple perspectives and combining it. And that was also like what a good friend of mine said, who's now doing the Olympics in Paris. was planning for it. He said like he's so sensitive because he's really a high-end sporter that he feels the difference on both arms. And he said like some moments he needs to wear it on the right side and some moments on the left side. But it's towards different parts of the brain. Yeah, the right side and the left side. And I thought like, wow, this guy is really sensitive. So for me, I also feel a little different, but not in that way. And so it was really inspiring for me to see how they relate. And the combinations also for him a really interesting thing. But if you want to start, and this was the main challenge, all the EMF protection, all the basic things you see in the study, that's either of them. So you don't worry if you want the bracelet or G1 they're really, really, really close to each other. But if you're able or if you want to have both, it's a beautiful combination. And beside this, the G Home was...
Wait a minute.
Okay,
About the Qi-Bracelet, a few stories or clients reached out to us that they have people who cannot wear chains. They just feel like it's kind of a feeling of choking. They cannot even wear a scarf or something like this. You know, it was not maybe five people, not more, but it was enough for us to feel about it, to feel in it. Inside of me there was a feeling of we need to help them too.
For
We
sure.
need to. It took us a few years for the Qi-Bracelet, but now it's here and it's
really...
I asked about the bracelet more than anything.
Yeah.
So
it's a beautiful product, and we had like the same designers as Louis Vuitton has who helped us to set this up. And for sure you can, when I think on video you don't see it, but if you see it in reality, it's really a masterpiece in design and perfection. And that's how it is.
Now that you
And it's you home. Personally, it's my favorite product. First, this. Oops. Here we can support with a little bit of sound, yeah.
Oops.
The G-Home is like the G1 and Qi-Bracelet is always on this personal interactive day design, what you're doing while you work, while you go out. But then I wanted to have something like, I want to have perfect relaxation atmosphere when I come home from work. I was tired of being tired after work. So I said, I need anything that charges me at least in 30 minutes so fast up. And when I come home from work, I'm done with anything. Then I rest on the couch, not doing nothing, maybe lay down, close the eyes. And then in 30 minutes, I wanted to be ready to go out, to have an date, or to meet friends, or to do some sport, whatever. And this was the main idea about the G-Home, like creating an atmosphere that really takes out everything that is not necessary and puts in what is needed. And with this, the G1 is made to create, like scientifically said, a coherent atmosphere. But it's like the Oasis character behind it. And this Oasis character is also not limited. So with time, it will grow on the outside. And the most beautiful story I had, it's three stories. I keep it short. One story was beautiful. And G-Home series, one I installed in my house of my father and my mother, like my family house. And the next year, the cherry tree of the neighbors had the first time cherries in 20 years.
What?
even blossoms.
Even blossoms. Yeah, you need blossoms.
First blossoms, but the tree was
And they had no blossom. And this was even crazy for me. 3 years later, there was always a dead oak in the forest next to us, to our house. And this oak started to have, how do you call it? Leaves again. Leaves again. And it was a completely like a dead tree. And then on some areas it started, and the second year it really came alive totally. And I didn't even thought that this is even possibly. I thought like when this is like over, it's over. And this was fascinating to me, like that. Yeah, this is the power aspect about the generation effect. And what I always say, there's nothing the body cannot heal if it's supported with the right things. And there's like, for sure, Korean water, minerals, good mindset, but there you're the pro more than me. And the other story was, and I think it's a interesting one to share. Of course, we don't make marketing with it. The dog of my sister and the dog of a good friend of mine that had both cancer cells. They were old dogs, like over I think 10 or 11 years, so really old dogs. And they both installed the Qi home, and after 6 months, they couldn't find any cancer cells anymore in the blood of the dog.
Wait a minute. Now that
Wait, yeah, but it's not. It should not be a commercial for cancer treatment. What I wanted to
Right.
say is a dog cannot interact with a self-awareness. Like the biochemical, we just work it out. So if the body of a dog is able to heal out the cancer, it will heal it out. Because the dog never has something like a mental stress like a person has, or anything else. So it means like for a person, like a human body, it's way more difficult to interact with cancer. Like people can think themselves sick, or they can have deep mental traumas, and this will take for sure longer than 6 months. But an animal has not this amount of emotional trauma that a human can create. So they're just the biochemical physics can work out itself. So yeah, this was a beautiful thing. What we noticed. What is like, and this showed me like when a human body is set up the right way, and he truly wants to change anything. And then I'm thinking also about Dr. Joe Dispenza, about this. Everything's possible. You can get rid of any disease you have if your mind is strong enough. And not everything needs to be perfect, for sure. If somebody has a hard life, no, I'm not talking about this. But if you are able to create this perfect setup as you're living it every day, then the chance, from my perspective, is really high to get rid of diseases. Yeah, it's not around the humanity right now.
You know, the thing that I'm the reason why I'm so happy that you shared the anecdotal, I'll admit it's an anecdotal story, but that's perfectly fine. We've already touched on that, right? But the story about these dogs. So a number of things come to mind because, for one, animals, which is why we do testing on animals don't experience the placebo effect. So
Exactly.
Sure.
So we do not subject animals to the placebo effect. And so animals happen to be, especially our beloved dogs, right? I think New York City might be the dog capital of the world. So anybody that just heard that story about, these two dogs, just let's not even talk about getting rid of the cancer. But let's just talk about they felt better, right? I can imagine they were probably more youthful and all sorts of things. And that's really cool by simply having the Qi home in the environment. Or let's not even talk about the product. Let's talk about making the home more of a coherent state, right? Making their oasis more of an oasis for not only themselves, but for their pets, which is also a part of their family. And so what I normally know nowadays, especially here in America, most dogs have been taken away from nature because dogs normally can ground through their paws, right? And so when they are outside engaging with nature, they're not only getting a chance to live more closely to how they were designed to be, which is in nature, but they also get a chance to get the grounding effect and the earthing effect from the earth. And then when we take them away, bring them inside, now we don't give them their natural sort of what they're born with, their birthright to having grounding and earthing be a part of their nature, their chemical makeup, right? So I think what it sounds like is that the Qi home at least helped to bring in some of this beneficial EMF effect, right? To where they can then start to heal themselves. Because like you pointed out, when you can ground yourself and be in a more coherent state, then that doesn't necessarily fix everything, but it gives you the best platform to fix everything.
Exactly. That's the message what we want to spread. Like there's no idea about making any promises and going, let's do it and now. No. The main idea is what we can both stand for is like, it will help to improve your life. That's it. And
There you
how
go.
your personal experience with it, it's totally individual, and how you work it out and what decisions you make. But at the end, that's the beauty about being human. You have free will,
Yeah.
so you can always go up the hill, or you can go down the hill. So that's the beauty in itself.
Mm.
And nothing on the planet will take this responsible off from you.
Anna, really quick before we start wrapping up, because I want to make sure that you know that I also appreciate your input on this, and I know that some of the pieces, what I saw online, it comes from you. I now understand that you're the heart of the company. Yeah. So I know when I first interacted with you guys and I got the Qi-1 Pro, I know that there was some content that was out there about ways to meditate with it and how to feel into it and things like that. Can you offer some practices or some ways that you utilize the Qi-1 Pro or the bracelet or any other piece?
Some practices. I usually wear it really 24/7, and my day is kind of, I wake up and I do like you do, water in the face, oil pulling, toothbrushing, and then meditating. And my meditation in the morning and in the evening is around about 90 minutes. So it's I cannot imagine meditate without the Qi or the Qi-Bracelet, without a technology. I mean, I can give everything away, but the Qi home, like Christian said, is the most important thing for us both while traveling. So no matter how busy life gets or how busy and loud the streets outside are, the Qi home is always supporting. It's my oasis, and for improving the meditation or the techniques or even yoga. I don't go out to gyms or something like that. I don't like that. I like to stay at home and yoga, meditating, even cooking. I love to cook in the atmosphere of the Qi home. You charge the food that you cook. It's kind of different. You charge it with the whole coherent atmosphere and with your love, and you will taste it.
So that's beautiful, and thank you for sharing that. Really, I think it's incredible. I have the Qi home up on the screen for those that are watching, and I wanted to. Oops, let me just mute this really quick.
I don't
know how to
the sound anyhow.
Yeah, the sound is nice. I just don't know how to mute it because I want to keep talking. But what I can show here, or at least what I would like to ask is, in fact, let me go back to my screen so you can see, because I do want to ask a question about this. So I know there's a lot of very useful best practices with this product, any of the products. But like when you get your package, you'll have a pamphlet, several pamphlets, and I believe there might be a picture of me on one of those, right? But
You gave us
so when you get this, it comes in a nice, beautiful box. So it looks really good. It's like, better than Apple packaging. And then it gives you some examples of what you can do with it. But I noticed that this looks like a European plug. What does that mean? Like, can you plug this in, or why would you if you can? And what is the point of that?
It was that's a right technology reason. Like this whole design was made like this. What you have in hand is, it's like the Qi Home 3. If you would put a number on it, like it's already the third version, like from the inside. But we did not ever change the outside. We wanted to keep a similar design because we really loved it, and also from the size and everything, it was beautiful. And yes, it is. You can plug it into, and you also could, if you ever wanted to try it out, you can take an adapter and plug it in. And the main idea back then was at the first edition, there was a way more a smaller grid chip inside. So we used the wiring as a, how do you say it, like as an
Grounding.
antenna, like as an antenna for the Qi home, like to bring the coherence everywhere into the house. So that's what it was made up from. And then everyone wanted to have it more simple, and then we just increased the power. And so there's no need to plug it in anymore. But I still love the design. And with it, you can still, like, some people love to plug it in because then it's stored in the wall, and especially Germans like to store everything so it's not moved, it's fixed. And so they just love it. And that's why we still have it like this. And I love it because you can change the angle with it. So you can
I
put
do
it
that.
straight or like this. And if it this, I love how by accident, it's the perfect angle.
Of course. Of course it
And
is.
the other one, the other point you showed, it's all German oak. Like I wanted to have to bring regular products, and the oak is like the most expensive wood you can buy in Germany. It's also like on the money paper, the oak on the money, the oak is it's really, the oak in Germany stands for being rooted, being know who you are, standing for the good things, fighting for the good in life. That's what the Germans think about when they're thinking about the oak. Because it gets really old, the trees get really old. It has a beautiful a lot of furniture's made out of it. It's just a beautiful wood in itself. It's slow growing, so that's why it's pretty expensive. And yeah, we choose it, and the oak you have on the backside, you can use it also, but we use it as a protect while shipment. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the main
Okay.
idea. It's not needed, but I loved it, and I loved the idea. And we use for the backside, we also use a piece of oaks where normally would have no further propose. So it's like a kind of recycled material. So I love the idea about bringing everything together and giving it I love it. and giving it a nice style. So to answer your question, you could plug it in, you can, but there's no need for it. And I love to have it more as an design piece. You could use it as a design piece to maybe in the living room or wherever you would love to place it.
That's definitely how I use it. And that leads me to my last question about the technology and the science. And then we'll jump into some more fun stuff, and then we'll start to wrap this up. So when you mention you can use it as a design piece and put it in the living room or the bedroom or whatever, where do you suggest to place this? And then how much area does this cover, right? And keep in mind, we're mostly talking to Americans. So if you're talking, how many square feet or meters, I mean, I think people can do the math, but can you give me an idea of like, where's the best place to place this in your home? And then how much of that area of the home is going to be quote unquote covered?
The center of the home is always a good place. And keep it in a personal good atmosphere, so that it gets the right respect of it. So we have it either in the kitchen, in the living room, or in the sleeping room. But with the new generation, it really doesn't matter how you put it. You can put it wherever you want. And from the effect, like, it really is like sensitive people really can feel how it's a growing atmosphere. It's the Qi is supporting and supporting and supporting and supporting. So literally, it should grow every year a bit. So we are thinking like putting it up in the first 24 hours. For sure, it's enough for a whole apartment or a whole backyard. So it's enough for one house. It should also be enough for like, also if you have a block, like if you're in New York City, all the people in the block should feel a benefit of it. Maybe not as big as in your personal atmosphere, but it will change, as I said, like it affects the oak
The
in
tree, yeah.
the tree there, or it just takes time. And then for sure, to tell the full story, you also have like enemies. So like if you have a lot of Wi-Fi towers, for sure on this side, it will make it a little bit more smaller. So it's not a perfect circle. It's more like a living, like a cloud, that's surrounding your block. So I think that's the best you can explain. But it will continue to grow and stabilize its stuff. So that's why I always say, if you want to do something good to your community, to your home is one way to share along with everybody. And
For the neighbors.
yeah, for the neighbors and people who are close to you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I guess the best way I could summarize what you just explained is that, and what most people are going to care about is it going to cover my home? Yes. Okay, done. Right. And so for people who are interested, obviously we're going to have in the show notes the discount codes and links directly to it and things like that. Consider this an investment for your home, for yourself, for your loved ones, your family, your pets even. And, yeah, like we definitely are going to continue to be in touch. I think we're going to do some cool projects together. I'm looking forward to that. But before we wrap up, I like to ask a couple questions to my guests, and I'm excited for this because I've gotten a chance to know you guys like virtually and personally, physically in the physical realm. So I would like to know, and maybe each of you can give a response. What is a top pet peeve of yours? Like, can you identify a thing or two that just really annoys you? And it can be about anything. It does not have to be about QiBlanco or any of the products we've talked about. Just in general, what comes to mind?
Small talk. I don't like small talk because it really is draining my energy.
That is, can you give me an example? Because I can relate to that, and I find that to be very interesting. But what are some of your examples? Yeah.
I mean, I think you just feel it when a person is not really quite interested in your answer. When you meet someone and you are new to each other and you ask like, "Hey, how are you?" and you feel it that it's absolutely not interesting for the person. And it's the first moment, it's the first moment where I feel like here we are again.
Right.
I like the deep dive in the first seconds.
Right. Well, it goes back to what I was talking about before with you being very intuitive, right? And so
Yeah.
I think that makes sense that you would have that as a pet peeve, because I think you could also reclassify that as you hate, or not hate, but you get annoyed by disingenuous opportunities or moments or people,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I can definitely relate. Christian, what about you?
For me, for sure, it's when the person has no connection to their own truth. Like when they, for example, when they just repeat things what they picked up in the news, or like yeah, anything like this, when they just like a little robot. But did you said that? Okay, so for me, it's really important that we as humanity develop our own intuition, our own personality, and we stand up and we can make this earth beautiful. We have it all in our hands. But it needs courage that everybody stands up and thinks about what he's hearing, and also maybe take it, as we said, with the startups, the hard way, the difficult way. But yeah, it's innerly knowing that this is important, that it's been done. That's where I love.
And to wrap up, the last question, which is definitely my favorite. What is something you're most grateful for?
Most grateful. I am grateful for QiBlanco because this is the most or the biggest push from the universe I ever got. Because QiBlanco or with Christian, who came into my life, everything or my huge transformation started. You know, we jumped right into this spiritual thing, like meditating and expanding consciousness. And it like since 8 years, it's a huge transformation. Yeah, and QiBlanco is like a baby for us now. It's a kind of a grown up baby, but yeah, there were a lot of struggles with the startup. And I mean, working together is also not easy in a relationship. So yeah, the growth factor is like.
Thanks for your vulnerability on that, because I can only imagine, and I look forward to getting to know you more and seeing you on more podcasts. So I want to personally thank you for coming, because I know this wasn't at the top of mind when it comes to like, how do we work together and promote. Well, here you are. You've done an amazing job. So thank you for that. And Christian, what is something you're most grateful for?
For me, it's definitely like this idea of having a human experience, like as a endless living soul, to have this human body and to play this sometimes really exhausting human game, I always say. But at the end, these moments we're having right now is so beautiful. It's so, you cannot buy this, you know? It's so beautiful if you can create this energy just with being yourself. And I think this is, for me, it's the most thing I'm grateful for to experience.
Both of those very, very beautiful, and seriously, thank you for sharing, because you know, like sometimes it's hard for people, and I won't say the people that come into my show, but when you go out and you ask the next 100 people, what are you most grateful for? You're going to get a whole host of, I don't know, right? Because either some people feel that they don't have anything to be grateful for, which just means they have a lack of awareness, I think, right? And maybe their life is tough, but we all have tough lives, right? Just entering into this world, being born is so traumatic to this physical body, you know, but it's what we make of it that makes us into the people we are today, and then where we want to eventually get, because we're going to go no matter what. We just got to help ourselves get there, right? So
that's true.
Yeah. Okay. How can people best find out more about the company and about, you know, your own personal journeys and things like that? Like, what is the best way to direct people from this show?
Instagram, YouTube, QiBlanco.com. If you type in QiBlanco, you will find us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So QiBlanco, again, for those that are just listening, it's spelled QiBlanco, QiBlanco. So that you can go to the website, you can find all the social media channels there. I believe it's at Instagram, it's just at QiBlanco. I will be obviously sharing all of the info in the show notes so you can kind of see what's going on. And I'll also link to the previous podcast that I did with you that first time. You can see how we've grown from that moment to this moment. And yeah, don't forget, if you are interested, please either reach out to me directly or refer to the description, the show notes, where we'll share a discount code and a direct link to getting some of these products, or at least learning more information. And yeah, let's be in touch. Yeah. Thank you for your time, guys. It's been really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be in touch and talk soon. Yeah.
For sure.
Peace.
Simply walk the talk.
Walk the talk, talking facts. Move like me, but I move a little fast. Make my move, here to last. Fasten these seatbelts, I'm coming past. Take care of me, longevity. Hack my biology, better believe. Walking the talk, soul, mind, and body connected. Better come give us a listen.